What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to your daily fantasy quick. Hey guys, what is up? Daily fantasy quickie time. My name is JJT with Komish Eric. Komish, 2 more days. Is it 2 more days? Yeah, before 2 more days until the end of week 19. Week 20 is our FBW playoffs. Exciting times, lots of teams trying to position themselves. Let's just talk about that for a bit. There's one FBW League wherein a manager who is in first place, sitting comfortably, is against a team who is in ninth place.
Okay.
And what happened was today, that first place team is leading 5-4 currently. And today he sat all his players, did not play all his players. And he played, I think, a couple, one or two players, and then the rest sat. One manager saw it, and he felt that this first place manager is trying to pick his opponent because he wants that ninth place team to get in to that eighth spot so that it's going to be quote unquote an easier opponent. The ninth place team has LeBron, so you know it's going to be an easier task for him because one of your top guys is already injured. Your take?
Yeah, we cannot penalize anybody for that. That strategy. And the top place team, I told Jeremy, deserves that right because he was able to play well the whole season so that he could choose his opponent or have some flexibility at this point of the season. That's that advantage that of course when you perform well, you have to have some advantages, and this is one of them. And I think he's smart. You mentioned there's some injuries, no? With the top place team, maybe that's why he's
All right,
choosing.
so the top place, the first place team has some injury problems right now. He has Robert Williams, who just got injured today. SGA is still out, right? We don't know if he's
Yeah.
gonna play next week if the fantasy playoffs start. He's in COVID. He'll probably be ready in terms of the COVID situation. But if remember, prior to that, he had two injuries as well that was reported by OKC. So we don't know if he's gonna sit out as well. So that's one. Halliburton sat out the last game. So those are the players of the first place team, right? Halliburton sat the last game. And then he also has Kawhi, who will not play, who did not play a while ago, due to load management. So due to rest. So as always with Kawhi, you don't know when, despite him being able to play lots of games already. So there's a chance that if he faces the wrong team, he can lose, right? He can lose, and the opponent, the ninth place team, who is not really trying to help, but who he wants to face, has LeBron. He has Jordan Clarkson, who is also out. And it's not really on paper, not really a very strong team.
I assume that manager, the top place team, already studied it very carefully. No, studied the matchups, everything. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But sometimes these things could backfire.
Yeah.
There are moments where you thought this will happen and then the other thing happened. But that's why I seldom do something like this. I really seldom do something like this because I don't want the pressure of, I chose you and then I lost or something. I don't want the regret. But this is a smart thing to do. It's still a smart thing to do. You play the odds, you play the stats, the data, you play those things. And if it doesn't work out for you, then you can't do anything. You did everything you can do. So, but for me, in general, I don't look at my opponents. I don't choose who's third, who's sixth, or whatever. I I I I will assume that if you're lower seed, you're worse off. So that's just how I think about it. If you're if you're eight, you're worse than the seventh. That's what my mindset is. That's what my mindset will be. No.
Yeah. Just just to tell you what maybe the opponent he is trying to stay away from. Maybe that's our assumption. He's trying to stay away from this opponent. He has Steph, who's coming back.
Coming back, yeah.
He has Gobert. So overall, the lineup of this guy is definitely stronger than the ninth place team because he has Gobert, he has Steph, he has Bane, he has Van Fleet, he has Fultz. So compared to the other team who's ninth place, he has Wiseman, he has some players you just pick off the waiver that were somehow a little more rosterable. And of course, he had LeBron there. So it's just picking the matchups. But like Kumish said, it can backfire. We've seen things like these backfire with so many leagues, like trades that you thought this team had a very big advantage or it has a better acquisition, and then it backfired because a player got injured and all of those things.
I would say though for this season, I would think there would be a lot of upsets because of the players you mentioned, like Steph coming back at this point, and then SGA being out at this point. I assume there will be a lot of teams that have SGA that are on top. I mean, first, second, third, fourth. We mentioned that before. If he doesn't come back on time for week 20, that's gonna be a problem. And then of course the other side, there's Steph who came back, there's KD who came back. So those teams that had these players are probably a little bit lower,
Yeah,
because they were out for a couple of weeks. Now they're back, and then there's some key players out. It might result in a lot more mayhem come playoff time.
yeah, and come playoff time, like I told our friend Joel, it's a whole different ball game. Even if you have a 10, 12 game lead from being first, when it comes to the playoffs, there's a lot of factors involved as well. Matchups, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Matchup schedule, right? Even if you study the schedule, sometimes players rest here and there, and of course the injuries. So it's a whole different ball game. Like we always say, get to the playoffs, and we'll see what happens, right? As long as we get to the playoffs, we're gonna be happy with that, and then we'll see what happens from there. Lots of upsets. I talked about some injuries. Robert Williams, hamstring tightness. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's this could be something that will force him to miss some games. I think
There are no updates yet, but he did come back. And this is the Celtics. These are the Celtics. They're the number 1 or 2 team in the East. So although they lost today, but I don't think they're gonna force Robert Williams just to get that number 1 seed. And Robert Williams has not been playing that well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will assume he's gonna be out. If you own Robert Williams, good or bad. I mean, if you have an open IL spot, maybe just put him there and then get somebody on the waiver who, like maybe a Bagley or Wiseman. We put our week 20 schedule already there. Just look at some of the teams with good schedules, so that might help you. But of course, it's not the most ideal situation. Al Horford, if you own Al Horford, I hope this is. He's been playing well.
Has been playing well.
Yes, he's been playing well, and this would help him even more.
And I think I regret because there's this one league I dropped my Al Horford because I was so annoyed early on, right? Not really early on. It's somewhere in the middle of the season.
I won't second guess your decision because I would have done that if I have the choice. So I would have dropped him also. It's just this is how things happen. Sometimes the timing of injuries. Just at this point, every injury really hurts because it's week 20. Like Robert Williams is big. Franz Wagner is the next guy on the list, and he has not missed a lot of games this season. But now he's sprained his ankle, although the X-rays are negative. I would think he's gonna miss some games also.
Yeah.
Orlando was healthy.
Are you gonna talk about Jonathan Isaac today?
Well, we can talk about Isaac who got surgery again. So Orlando, from having some depth, might be losing some depth a little bit, but of course they're still deep. People might think,
and they're still playing well. They're still playing very well.
is Bol an ad. I don't think he's the guy to add. I think it's Jalen Suggs, who started for Franz Wagner. They went with Fultz, Suggs, and Gary Harris. That's how they, and Suggs went with 35 minutes today. I think 32 to 35. So I like Suggs. Suggs is the guy you probably would want to add with the Franz Wagner injury.
All right. Another player, Norm Powell, was, I think, had a sling.
I forgot the name of the injury, sublex something. They said out at least a week. We've talked to some managers asking about this. I mean, he's a drop. But he's not been playing well even before.
I think at this point, that's an easy drop.
Yes, it is an easy drop. But some managers are still thinking about it, and I said, don't think about it. Drop right away.
Especially if you're closing in on the playoffs or you're in the playoffs. I think if you are safe, if you have Norm Powell and your playoffs is next week and you are quite safe in your position, you could already position your team to grab some players from the waiver wire who has a better schedule, maybe who has potential to play better. Like I did that with adding some Tyree Easons in some league, right? Added a few guys like Tybal. He was dropped, so I picked him up. I added some players who I feel might be useful come playoff time, because like we said, like for me, I'm high on making sure that the steals and the blocks, I'm gonna be competitive all the time. So I added steals guys, some blocks guys, some defensive guys. So
you mentioned Tybal.
4 steals, 1 block.
I assume he's not gonna be available in your leagues.
No more.
If he is, you better make sure you add him. Kris Dunn signed to another 10-day contract. I think if he's available in your league, you add him. Trey Murphy, he was a drop. But Josh Richardson is out for personal reasons. And Trey Murphy is somebody who also can give you steals and 3-pointers. That's an elite combination. So if you're talking about steals and blocks, I think these guys are the guys you target.
In case this is the first time you listen to us or not, you don't listen to us every time. We like the steals and blocks during fantasy playoffs because these are winnable categories through luck.
Yeah.
So just in case some of your top guys who are strong in threes like Steph or maybe Trey suddenly sits out some games, at least you can be competitive in steals and blocks. You're not going to punt those categories. Because if you do, then it's going to be harder to win it, right? The percentages, turnovers, steals, and blocks, those are 5 categories. You have to at least be competitive at, because, at the end, on Judgment Day, you could have this luck wherein one of his guys shoots 1 out of 11, 1 out of 10, and then suddenly you win field goal, even though you're not elite in field goal, right? Just be competitive in those 5 categories.
Another guy I'll just add here, I don't want to say it because it might fall flat to my face again, but the Anthony Melton of the bench is interesting. I mean, yeah, I know. I dropped him in one league. I'm just saying that if it's in a deeper league,
he's gonna be available.
If it's in a deeper league, if he continues to come off the bench, it might help him. So just somebody to. I mean, we can mention Tybal all we want, but I'm sure he's not there.
He's not there.
So if you're too late, I mean, just have to look for options right now. Who can I go next? So maybe these guys, just giving up some other players just to monitor closely. There are Trey Murphys available. So I think I'm seeing a trend. So I think go with Trey Murphy. Try to get Trey Murphy. If you own Devin Vassell, for instance, I'm like, Vassell is going to be out tomorrow. I'm not sure he's going to be reliable for the playoffs. Yes, you waited for so long, but you might have to drop him anyways, because if he's not going to play every game, it's kind of tough. Unless you have an IL plus position, so you can just put him there and all those stuff, right?
Yeah. Norm Powell could easy drop. I mean, a player like that is an easy drop, especially if you're in the playoffs already. It's harder when you're at the start of the season or somewhere in the middle, but if it's in the tail end of the season, I think that's an easy drop. Brandon Clark. Well, Brandon Clark is not really rosterable. I think
Yeah,
he's a little rosterable just because of the percentages, low turnovers, and some steals and blocks. But yeah, it
but
looks
this
like
one
this
is a
one's
serious
bad
one.
though. This one's
This one's
worse.
bad. I think it could be an ACL, and based on the teammates' emotional reaction, it seems like he's gonna be out for a while. Steven Adams, I'm not sure if he's back, but if he's not, Xavier Tillman is available.
Yeah,
It's
he is widely available.
widely available, and if Adams will be back later week 20 or even week 21, Tillman might be a very
Yeah,
very
I was supposed to drop Tillman. I was supposed to drop
yeah.
Tillman because I thought this is probably a streamer, but he played well the past couple of games. He played
Yes,
okay.
yes.
The last game not as good, but yeah. And then this news came out, so I said to myself after today's game, I'm gonna probably drop Tillman and then stream another player. But with this injury news, I think he should be a hold and
He
see
should be a hold. They should be an ad. And if not, if you're late to that, Santi Aldama, who has had some good games. Santi has had some good games.
yeah.
Tillman will not be consistent. So Santi would get his chance until Steven Adams comes back. So these are the guys. Just keep in mind, maybe stream Santi at times. No?
Also,
Yeah.
it's a needs based thing as well. If you need more
Yes,
rebounds,
Tillman.
rebounding, some better field goal, maybe you could go with Tillman. But if you need some threes, some blocks, because Tillman is not really known as a shot blocker, but Aldama can block a little bit more. You
Yeah.
can go with Aldama. So I think it's more. I'm saying that because it's the playoffs, and sometimes it's just about preference and what categories do you need to win or would you want to win. So you can choose between those two. DeAndre Ayton knee, though.
Let's just monitor because he was somebody fell on him. He said he's fine after. This happened before with his ankle. He said he's fine, but he missed 2 to 3 games. Just something to watch out for. Um, the Suns look good. Of course, if you have KD and Devin Booker, they look good. Ayton didn't have a good game today. Maybe the knee had something to do with it. Not really worried at this point. So hopefully he's fine. Hopefully he's fine.
Yeah. And like you said, injuries at this point would be crucial.
Magnified. Yes.
Yeah, magnified. It would be the biggest blow of your fantasy
Yeah.
season, especially if
Yes.
you are right there. You feel like LaMelo.
LaMelo, yeah.
I
And
thought I'm gonna win that. I'm gonna make it to the playoffs just because I have so many games. I'm so many games ahead of my opponent, and then suddenly LaMelo is out. So now I have a chance of not making it to the playoffs just because of that.
you can't wait. I'm seeing Jordan Clarkson dropped. I told you there's something fishy in Utah. What's happening in Utah? But they lost by 26 to OKC without SGA. That's not normal, even with or without Clarkson. So yeah, Clarkson, I've seen him drop. You can't wait. I know it might be premature. What if he comes back the next game? But some managers are not gonna wait. So they went ahead and dropped him. So I'm not gonna be angry against that. It's okay. If there's anybody there in the waiver wires that looks to have a good schedule, yeah, go ahead. No.
And if you're playing for survival, like today, I was
Yeah,
I forced myself to drop Jalen Duren.
I've dropped him also. Yeah,
You
you
know,
can't wait.
one factor as well. I saw him in one FBW league. That's the advantage of having so many FBW leagues, right? You get to see the pulse of some of the managers. I saw him drop there. No one picked him up, so I felt like it might be a good decision to just drop now, then wait later, and see
Stuart
if
also.
someone picks him up. But I was also fighting for survival there, trying to make the playoffs. So I think he was an
Yeah,
easy drop to me.
Stuart also. I think Stuart is also a drop already. This is all. These are all in assumptions that you don't have an IL or IL plus.
Yeah.
If you do, no need to drop. Like I still have
just
an
put
IL
him
plus.
there. This is on
I'm
the
holding
assumption that your IL plus is full.
full. Yeah.
And if
I have
you're
LeBron. I'm still holding on to LeBron because I still have an IL plus. But if you don't, no sense in holding on to LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see how he went? He came to the court a while ago. He was with the scooter. walking
Isn't
boot
he in
and
a boot? Yeah. He's in a
yeah, in a
walking boot.
boot and in a scooter. You use a scooter. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while. So, you have to do what you have to do. Just try to survive.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the injuries. Like we said, some players you might consider. Trey Murphy, Commissioner said that. Jonathan Kuminga
Oh yeah, Kuminga been.
could be
I
very
think
widely
he had
available.
4 steals also today, something like that. Kuminga's been playing very well. Sneaky player.
Yeah,
Kuminga.
but I don't know what impact will Steph's return have on that. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But Wiggins, I think the Wiggins return might be bigger for him. I
Is
think.
Wiggins returning?
Not yet. No, not see, Wiggins is still out. So if you can hold on to Kuminga for a while. I think he's been getting 30 plus minutes because of the absence of Wiggins. But of course, Steph return will hurt him. Will also hurt him, but
Yeah.
not as much as Wiggins, in my opinion.
Eric Gordon started
Yeah.
today, and with the Norm Powell injury,
Injury.
he
Marcus
could get some
Morris.
value.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marcus Morris. And if Kawhi still doesn't want to play back-to-back games, I mean, there's still 3 or
I think
4 more.
Kawhi will play the next game though.
Yeah, he will. But the back-to-back games, no. Eric Gordon, even when Kawhi plays, will get 30 minutes if Marcus Morris and Powell are out.
Actually, Gordon has always been a solid player
Points.
in terms
Yeah.
of fantasy when you need points, when you need threes. He's not a bad field goal percentage player for someone who shoots threes. And then he occasionally gives you some nice assist numbers that helps. So I think solid player to stream if you're looking for someone to maybe add just to fill in some games there. Eric Gordon's there. Kris Dunn, we just mentioned Kris Dunn, signed to another 10-day contract. No Sexton yet, nor no Clarkson. They could eventually sign him for the rest of
Do
the
you
season.
have any Taylor Horton Tucker?
No.
Okay, I do have some. No, so that's a dilemma. I'm not sure if I'm gonna drop him. Like today, he gave me 6 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 turnovers.
Easy drop. Drop him.
But
if you don't know how
this is an
many,
18 team league. This is an 18 team league, so it's tougher to find
Yeah.
anybody really on the waiver. So I'm still debating, but really he hurts a lot, field goals and turnovers. So I don't know if it's better just to get somebody who doesn't do much, but at least won't hurt me. So, but yeah, I think in a shallower league, 14, yeah, I think Taylor Horton.
you talked about hurting field goal. The couple of weeks ago, I dropped Trey Murphy. That was a couple of weeks ago. He wasn't playing well, right? And then in hindsight, I think I should have dropped Jabari Smith instead of Trey Murphy. That's a mistake that hopefully won't haunt me.
I finally saw, after we talked yesterday, I finally saw Jabari Smith in one of my leagues. Finally dropped. So yeah,
I'm just finding the right waiver ad to replace him.
Yeah.
If there's someone there that I would think is better, but yeah, that was a mistake. Hopefully, it won't come back to bite me. I should have dropped him instead of Trey Murphy.
In case Tari Eason is still there.
Tari Eason, I've added Tari Eason in a few leagues.
You're lucky. I was too late. The person who was in Tari Eason's corner, I dropped 2 or 3 of my Tari Eason before this run. And now I don't have any Tari Eason. But if there is still some Tari Easons in your league, I think this is the time. I think this is the time you can add him.
I added him, like I said, in preparation for the playoffs. I just feel like he's gonna get a little more minutes. And then of course that's the discussion we had yesterday about Houston somehow solidified it that I should get some Tari Eason. Isaiah Joe has been hot.
Say Joe.
Threes. If you need threes, he's a threes guy, threes and points guy, and not much else in other categories.
Yeah, but our friend Joseph said he's regretting dropping Joe. He did drop Joe. I think
lot. There have been a lot of Isaiah Joe's drop
because maybe he went to the bench.
Yeah, that's one. And then he had a game wherein he did play well.
But I think if SG is out, it's gonna be solid bench or starter. I mean, he can give you 12, 13 3-pointers a week.
Actually, if SGA is there, he can give you 2, 3 3-pointers still. Could be a specialist. I mean,
yeah, let's see. I mean, Kenrich is out, so maybe there's some minutes there. I don't know.
Josh Okogie, the
Yeah,
fifth starter in Phoenix.
streamer. Yeah, but today, 25 points.
Yeah.
25 points. But yeah, no, don't expect something like that. You know. But
Cam Reddish is
just to
the
mention Okogie, he's gonna be open a lot with that lineup. So if he
yeah.
can hit those 3 pointers consistently, which he did in the first quarter, yeah, he will have some games like this going forward.
Cam Reddish, the consolation prize to Matisse Thybulle, in case you didn't add Thybulle, I guess.
Simon's back injured, so maybe I've seen Reddish drop. Maybe can pick him up. Try to see where it goes. Maybe he plays better this time around.
Nasrid and Malik Beasley to wrap it up. The waiver wire adds that you can consider Nasrid, of course, as a backup to Gobert. He's always been solid. It's just a consistency as a backup. I think that's the challenge with Nasrid. As a starter, he's definitely a must roster, but as a backup, there's just fluctuations to his game. But yeah, you could add him up there. Malik Beasley, also
Yeah,
another player in case you need threes. I think the Lakers are really quite short-handed right now. And we talked about Reeves, we talked about Beasley. You know, Vanderbilt, we had one league wherein some manager was complaining about Vanderbilt being
but
dropped,
he's
but
dropped.
you know,
Ah,
I don't know, but it looks like he is droppable at some point.
yeah, yes, it looks like he's droppable. I got tricked with that. I used my waiver on him because I hope, but that was before LeBron's injury, and I think if LeBron is there, it's better for Vanderbilt. Without LeBron, it's just they need more offense, and it's just hurt him a little bit. Some news that came out just now, just to maybe add it. Nerlens Noel is signing with the Nets. Um, I don't know if there's gonna be any impact really in a 12-14 team league, except maybe just a streamer. But in a deeper, let's say you're in 20 team, 18 team,
Nets, did he sign with who?
Brooklyn Nets. They don't have a backup center. It's just
Yeah.
Claxton. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they've been playing 9 men, full of wings. Maybe Noel can come in and give them 15 minutes, maybe 15 to 16 minutes. And with Noel, Jeremy has been talking about stocks and fantasy
Yeah.
playoff. If you're in a deep league, again, deeper
Deeper league, in a 14, maybe just a stream.
stream.
I think not even a stream, just for me, just watch and see what
Watch.
he does.
Yeah.
How many minutes he gets. Would they really play him that much? Right? And if he gets good quality minutes, then you could, take a chance in streaming.
Yeah.
Steals and blocks, definitely good infield goal, right? Can rebound as well, but won't be as good because he's going to be playing behind Nick Claxton, who's been very good this year. So yeah, and
Yeah.
Ben Simmons probably out for the year. I don't know.
I don't care about Ben Simmons anymore. Even if he comes back, it doesn't matter. It's not fantasy relevant. But he's not fantasy relevant then.
Yeah.
So drop him.
Yeah, drop him. And Jonathan Isaac, like I said, out for the season once again. Two guys who just milked everything from their teams, milked the money from their teams, and never really played significant role or minutes for their team. All right, that's it for today's quickie, guys. It's the weekend. Follow us on our socials. Subscribe, like this video, like this episode, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. We'll probably, if not tomorrow, on Monday we release the schedule analyzer. But in case you want to read about it, it's already on our Facebook page. You can go check that out, just to get a heads up on what to expect on week 20 fantasy playoffs here at Fantasy Bench Warriors League. All right, bye. Have a good weekend, guys.